44% of millennials say they feel burned out at work, often or always. That's not a small problem. That's a generational crisis. It actually changes how your body and brain function. Remote work gave us flexibility, but it also erased the line between work and life. So then we're left wondering, why am I struggling? G'day everyone, and welcome to another episode of Lead on Purpose. My name's James Middleton, and for the last 20 years, I've been leading teams of all shapes and sizes, from the Australian Air Force through to the private sector. Now, I help organisations develop ethical, purposeful leadership at every level. I also help you become the leader that you want to be. I dive into real-world leadership challenges and bring you inspiring stories from real leaders to give you practical strategies to help you lead with confidence, clarity, and purpose. In today's episode, we're going to talk about a growing problem: burnout, an affliction that spans every industry and disproportionately affects millennials. I'm going to explain what burnout is and how it impacts your ability to lead effectively. And I'm going to give you 5 warning signs to watch out for that could mean that you're heading for burnout right now. Today's episode hits close to home because I'm a millennial and I've experienced burnout. I'm talking about the kind of emotional, mental, and physical strain that makes you question everything: your job, your identity, and your capacity to keep going. This is where I found myself about 6 years ago. I'd been out of the Air Force for a few years, and I was working a job that I truly enjoyed. But at the same time, I was struggling. I was dealing with the stress of renovating a house, the pressure of working long hours, being a husband, and a father to my son. By trying to be everything to everyone, I ended up crashing, burning, and being unable to give anything to anyone. So if you're feeling the strain of burnout, you're not alone. And here are a few statistics to set the context for just how big of a challenge burnout is, particularly for millennials. As of 2025, millennials, that's anyone born between 1981 and 1996, make up 75% of the global workforce, with as many as 2/3 of us having direct reports or management functions as part of our day-to-day roles. Deloitte's 2022 Global Millennial and Gen Z survey found that 30% of millennials in leadership roles felt overwhelmed by their responsibilities. And according to Gallup's 2023 report, 44% of millennials say they feel burned out at work, often or always. That's not a small problem. That's a generational crisis. So then, what is burnout? Burnout is a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged and unmanaged stress. It's more than just feeling tired. It's a chronic condition that can deeply impact your well-being and your performance. But stress itself isn't the enemy. Unmanaged stress is. When stress becomes chronic, it negatively impacts your performance, it wears down your resilience, and it disrupts your ability to recover. And burnout doesn't just affect how you feel. It actually changes how your body and brain function. It impairs memory and your ability to make decisions. Emotionally, you progress from stressed and anxious to numb and detached from the things you usually care about. Fatigue, headaches, and disrupted sleep become more frequent while your immune system suffers. And this isn't a linear process. All of these factors are intertwined, compounding on one another until it just makes matters worse. When you struggle to make decisions, you become more stressed, which disrupts your sleep. And that lack of sleep results in chronic fatigue, making decisions even more difficult and putting strain on your immune system. As you get sick, your stress increases and sleep continues to suffer. On and on the cycle goes until you eventually crash and burn out. As a leader, burnout doesn't just affect you, it affects your team. When you are visibly stressed, people pull back. They stop asking questions. They stop sharing because they don't want to add to your stress. So they try to solve things alone. And that can lead to mistakes. It can lead to delays. And it can lead to your team feeling disconnected and disengaged. And on this cycle goes. So that's burnout in a nutshell. A mentally, physically, and emotionally draining condition that can impact anyone. So why then are millennials so much more susceptible to burnout. It's well documented that millennials are suffering from burnout at higher rates than older generations. And research shows that there are many social, economic, and environmental factors that are contributing to the higher rates of burnout in millennials. Here are 5 things in your environment, both personal and professional, that might be making you more susceptible to burnout. Number 1, digital overload. We're always on. What started as digital productivity tools to help us stay connected, particularly during COVID, have morphed into a never-ending stream of digital information. Slack, Teams, Zoom, WhatsApp, it just never stops. There is no off switch anymore, and when we can't switch off, we can't recover from periods of acute and increased stress. This unmanaged stress is a significant contributor to burnout. Number 2, blurred boundaries. Remote work gave us flexibility, but it also erased the line between work and life. As modern professionals who want to climb the corporate ladder and be the best parents, friends, and family members that we can be, the remote work and flexible work environment seems like a perfect fit. We can get up early, we can exercise, then check our emails and get a jump on the day, all before getting our kids ready for school. Then we can work the majority of our day before breaking to pick up the kids and spend some quality family time together before dinner and bed. And then finally, we can log on for a little bit and finish out the day before going to bed ourselves and doing it all again tomorrow. As we've become more and more accustomed to the flexible work, our work has started to bleed into evenings, to weekends, even holidays, and that is not sustainable. Number 3, isolation in leadership. Many millennial leaders are managing distributed teams, often without mentors, peer support, or any real human connection day to day. Personally, I found that interaction morphed into human transaction through COVID. We only spoke to each other through Teams or Zoom when we wanted something. And that nasty change has continued even as people are spending more and more time back in the office. Mentoring and connection, particularly in leadership, can't be limited to formal one-on-one sessions. A quote that has stuck with me over the years is that they can't be what they don't see. And this holds true for millennial leaders. Without a community of peers and mentors to support leadership growth, it can feel as though leadership is the loneliest place on earth. Number 4, high expectations. We millennials were raised to believe that we could do anything. But that belief turned into pressure. Pressure to be perfect, productive, and present for everyone. And just as in my story from earlier in the episode, trying to be everything to everyone will only result in being unable to give anything to anyone. And finally, number 5, comparison culture. Social media has been part of our lives for the last 20 years, showing us a highlight reel of other leaders just crushing it. They seem to be balancing work and family, friends, health and fitness, and make it all seem so easy. So then we're left wondering, why am I struggling? We know that logically social media is just a curated highlight reel, but that doesn't stop it from taking the mental, emotional, and physical toll that makes us more susceptible to burnout. Now, some of these environmental factors might be out of your control, but that doesn't mean that you just have to grit your teeth and toe the line until you fall over. Your well-being is your responsibility. So, here are 5 warning signs to watch out for that might tell you that you're heading for burnout. Number 1, difficulty concentrating or making simple decisions. If you were making quick, sharp budget decisions a few weeks ago, but today struggle to choose which coffee shop to go to, you might be heading for burnout. Number 2, feeling detached from work or colleagues. If you used to enjoy going to lunch with your workmates, but this week all you wanted to do was sit in silence and eat lunch at your desk, you might be heading for burnout. Number 3, struggling to switch off at nighttime. If you can't seem to truly come home from work, you might be burning out. Number 4, persistent fatigue, even after rest. If you're waking up tired more often than not, even after going to bed early, you could be heading for burnout. And finally, number 5, increased use of unhealthy coping mechanisms such as alcohol or junk food. If that glass of wine with dinner on the weekend is turning into a few after work each day, you might be heading for burnout. That's a lot to take in, I know. So let's quickly recap. The 5 things in your environment that might be making you more susceptible to burnout are digital overload, blurred boundaries, isolation in leadership, high expectations, and of course, comparison culture. And the 5 warning signs to watch out for that might tell you you're heading for burnout right now are difficulty concentrating or making simple decisions, feeling detached from work and colleagues, struggling to switch off at night, persistent fatigue even after rest, and increased use of unhealthy coping mechanisms. Burnout is real. It's not going away. If anything, it's only getting worse. But you're not powerless. You can take control of your own well-being. And it starts with awareness and a commitment to change. Your well-being is your responsibility, not your bosses, not your teams, not your partners, yours. So if you're struggling, feeling like you're heading for burnout, or you just want to learn how to take care of yourself better, here is another episode with some tips and strategies to help you look after yourself so you can look out for others. And I'll also link that down in the show notes. Thanks for joining me on another episode of Lead on Purpose. If this episode gave you something to think about or reflect on, let me know down in the comments. Like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend or colleague who also wants to be a better leader. And remember, leadership isn't a title, it's a choice. So make that choice and continue leading on purpose. My name's James, and I'll see you next time.